Hi everyone, my name's Sierra and I'm a student at the University of Delaware, and this semester I took marine conservation, and one of the assignments we had to do was to have a behavioral goal that would improve our environmental footprint. So I actually decided to do mine in reducing my carbon footprint by making sure I was traveling no more than 960 miles per week in my car, because I drive a lot. If I were to continue that much driving for the 12 weeks of the semester, I would have been roughly driving 11,520 miles. Now that is 3.67 metric tons of carbon dioxide that I was emitting. And to give you some numbers of what that can translate to, I have a whole bunch of numbers right here that I listed. The orange chart shows the metric tons of carbon dioxide when I was driving roughly 960 miles per week. The blue chart shows the end results of my 12 weeks doing this behavioral change. As you can see, there are large differences in the amounts they are equivalent to, avoided by, and sequestered by. Now, ironically, I had to film some of this while I was driving, because that's exactly what I'm trying to do differently: drive less. Now, at the time when I was driving, it wasn't costing a lot to fill my tank up, roughly $25. However, now with gas prices on the rise, it's costing me roughly $40 to fill up my tank. So there's also an economic component to why I'm doing, or why I chose to do this specific action, to do a change, to hopefully be one person that can do something different for the environment. So what did I end up doing instead? Hanging out in my backyard. I borrowed my friend's binoculars and I went birding. And turns out there's actually a lot of cool birds in my backyard. I saw a gray catbird for the first time. I saw some chipping sparrows, house sparrows. I saw a American robin that was an immature that was learning how to sing his song for the first time. I thought that was pretty cool. And had I been driving to the mall to hang out and waste time, I would have never saw that. I actually got a really cool picture of it, if I do say so myself. I also started going through my backyard and cutting down all the invasives back there. So there was some Japanese honeysuckle, there was tons of English ivy. I'm pretty sure there was some poison ivy too. And I just started cutting everything down, and my backyard, I actually saw a whole bunch of birds come in and swoop right in as soon as I did it, because they had a place to actually go look for food and stuff, which is cool. So all of this over here, that is a Japanese honeysuckle that I cut down. Then we have a whole bunch of ivy over here, English ivy, and there was some poison ivy back in that corner back there. And that's just everywhere. The dark vine is also ivy. Doing this actually made me realize how much I like being outside and doing simple restoration efforts. So needless to say, my backyard, the little mess especially behind me, is in the process of getting redone. I think this is something everyone ought to do, because it is a pretty cool experiment, and it's cool to actually hold yourself accountable and see the fact that you are making a difference. Because now, instead of emitting all of this carbon into the atmosphere, which we know causes all of these trophic cascades eventually as it accumulates, because of the fact that there is not enough, essentially there's not enough forest in the United States to counteract it, which is why our numbers are increasing so much right now. Seeing the amount of carbon that I am emitting and seeing the fact that I was able to reduce it, just me by myself, imagine how much it would be reduced if everyone jumped on board with this and doing just such a simple change of, instead of going to the mall or shopping center to go do some recreation activity, which isn't even considered recreation because it's indoors, but that's beside the point. Instead of doing that, doing something actually outside in your own backyard, or just walking around wherever you live for 15-20 minutes, we can make a big, huge difference. So I really encourage you guys to all do it, and maybe hopefully you can also maybe get into birding and tell me about the cool stuff you see. Just to give you an idea of what it looked like back. Oh, that is a woodchuck. A Marmota monax. That's awesome. I can't believe I just got it on video. Marmota monax in the order Rodentia in the family Sciuridae, which is meaning that they are related to squirrels. The common name is a woodchuck or a groundhog. And the cool thing about them is that their front teeth, there's 2 front teeth, and they have large incisors for gnawing. And their teeth have indeterminate growth, meaning that they never stop growing, which is why they constantly have to gnaw. Those are spotted lanternfly nymphs, which I can go on a whole spiel about that, but I'd have to make a whole separate video for that. But just know that they are super invasive to the United States and a huge problem for our native insects, which can translate up the food chain and have devastating effects. How I wonder what you are.